see more expertise, and we're hiring people that have expertise behind these areas, mobile and social, because every platform needs to be designed differently, because Robin, you and your clients expect results. And every platform delivers something different.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big sort of mantra at Meredith, is accountability and results. We've got partnerships with IMS Health for pharmaceutical, and we're working with Nielsen. And it's a very analytical conversation. And the people that we hire have got to be articulate about how that methodology works. And, accountability is going to be increasing, not decreasing. Clients expect it as we build multimedia programs. We're building in measurement, sales measurement, ROI measurement. It's it's got a little bit of rocket scientry in there. So it's all sort of a different skill set. You have to have the core, I guess, sort of sales skills, but you really have to understand the analytical part of this.
I agree, it's analytical, but I really think, if you look at the way the pendulum swung, we started out with a lot of sponsorships and idea-driven selling, and then I think the pendulum really swung towards more commoditized, high-scale solutions as technology came to the fore. And I really see it as a balance right now between art and science, between sales and marketing, between really understanding content and the ideas that really truly connect with an audience. I mean, particularly at this moment where brands are spending a tremendous amount of time thinking about their own content strategies and thinking about their own publishing architecture across this vast ecosystem of touch points in the digital landscape. I think they're looking for holistic expertise about the content they need to create, the technology solutions they need, the workflows within their own organization and the agencies with whom they work. And then they're also looking for what's been referred to as the analytical side or the intelligent display side, which amplifies it and makes those ideas truly scale and deliver results. So I feel like the challenging part is really from a talent standpoint, being able to find people who can play across that really broad spectrum, let alone the variation between platforms like video or mobile, or the intricacies of social. So I think people are going to have to push themselves in a far deeper set of directions.
Yeah. I mean, I think great ideas always win, but they also have to deliver as well.
Right.
And I think there has to be that balance.
To everybody's point here, less people will be doing more, and so how do you find that balance within specific people or that type of talent who understand the hard stuff as well as the soft stuff, and can balance left and right thinking. Mm-hmm. So that's a big
Robin,
challenge.
what we've done so far, and I bet with the 6 people up here, we all probably have different theories on how you organize to take advantage of that, right? And it changes, frankly, every 3 months, every 6 months. I mean, it changes continuously.
Yeah.
So I think for us, the key was to create an organization that's flexible and can change from from agency to agency on the run. I mean, we've created, we call them pods, right? And essentially, it's made up of integrated sellers, but then embedded with each one is a dedicated, hardcore digital expert, and that person is intended to bring the learning to that group of integrated sellers. And because every call, I mean, literally every single agency is set up differently. Mm-hmm. So you need something that kind of, that's not so structured. And I think it is a challenge overall, for the right structure, but it's a challenge for the individual people too, to be able to work in that kind of environment. I think that's a big thing.
We've also created the similar pods. I think you need that sort of teamwork, people with different expertise and can contribute to the team.
I think that the most important thing from my standpoint is, because I've seen a number of different structures implemented, is just to be sure that particularly as you have people with specialized expertise, that they don't simply become advocates of what they know best, but that they have objectivity and that they're gold trained to listen and to hear the client's objectives in terms of what the results are, what the measurement of results is, the audiences they're trying to reach, the concepts that really resonate for their target audiences. And I think as this environment continues to get more complex, the challenge is to develop that very specialized expertise around some really complicated areas that are part of this equation that we're all talking about, but to do it in a way that's objective and focuses on the client's goals.
I want to go back to that.
Yeah, go.
Janet, you had content comment you made, because that is one that comes up on every single call we go on. You guys must be hearing it all the time. And it's a delicate thing when you're in the news business, but even if you're not, you're challenged by it. And I find that clients want to be in it, that the social arena allows them to do it. I can now push out content. Why shouldn't I can control the messaging? But they don't know how to do it, and they admit to that. We're not asking the right questions. We're learning all the time, and so I'd encourage everyone to take that expertise. You can't cross church and state lines, but this is here to stay. People are going to continue to do it, and we need to guide them rather than react to them, because it's give me the big idea that's never been done before, and we all sort of go, whoa, what am I going to do? And we really got to stop and say, this is my expertise. You make cars, I make content, but now you want to push your car content out. I'm here to help you do that. I'm going to show you the way.
Yeah, and certainly technology is helping us do that in lots of ways, because I mean, you look at some of the technology and the research out there that drives creative media planning. With the example at Entertainment Weekly at our place, where we put a video player in the magazine for Pepsi and CBS launching, one of their new primetime shows. So technology is great to push creativity in media, basic media planning. That I think a lot of people are like, okay, it's all going to these programs, and it's all kind of the lowest common denominator and buy media by the pound. The fact is, it's not. It's like, as Michael said, it's about creatively thinking about content, integrating content and digital video, and porting that video through lots of different channels.
So then with that, I'll ask, how do you turn all this technology into engagement, performance, and market-moving messaging?
I think you follow the audience and how they react to you. That's first and foremost. If you're delivering quality content in a timely fashion, it's better than the next guy, they'll tell you how to use it. Put pressure on the editors.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's still about brand and that relationship that audience has with that brand, no matter what platform it's delivered on. And that relationship is special, and that brings an engaged audience.
I think it goes back to all the things that we're saying, great content. We've all heard that content is no longer scarce, but good experiences are. It tracks back to what everybody's saying. And it's about remaining relevant, because, we all know that people who used to read Redbook now have their own blogs. Their blog might be bigger than redbook.com. We know that there is content in lots of different places, and, it's the idea of us remaining relevant, and what we're really watching for is the intersection where content and data and platforms can all come together. Because, and I think we're all testing in this area, but, it's pretty interesting that as we produce content, we still produce content thinking that two different women coming to the site are going to be interested in the same exact beauty content. And so we're not really as relevant as we can be. And publishing's probably further behind than most other industries. We know Amazon, they know exactly what we want. They make product recommendations. So I think that in order for us to remain relevant, this is where data and technology then feeds us and allows us to be more relevant to consumers. Because consumers, at the end of the day, they do expect us to serve them content or experiences that better understand what their unique needs are. And that's an area I know that at Hearst we're trying to get better at. And I'm not sure the publishing industry is really where we need to be, but you may debate that right now on the panel.
I think we're all in innovation mode. I think we're trying new things. We actually just launched this year a new offering, which we call our branded content platforms. And we're looking at 3 different things that we can deliver to a brand that is trying to tell that story. It's content, an engine of content. It might be content we've already created. It might be custom content that we're creating through more of a commercial or advertorial mechanism, or it might be the content they've already created, because as I said, brands are creating a lot of content, not only with us as a media partner, but with lots of the folks on the stage, so there's lots of different sources for that. We then take the technology that we're using on the core Huffington Post site, and we're actually using it to power platforms for brands, so that they can better connect their paid, owned, and earned channels and really capitalize on a lot of the things that I think we're hoping to drive, which is not just distribution out to social, but using social and search, of course, because it's still an incredibly important part, as a way to drive organic traffic into the content and really connect people into an experience. And then the last piece is, of course, audience, and I think that's where intelligent display and targeting and data strategies make it that much stronger. So we've been working with a number of different marketers in that space, and each time we implement one of these large branded content platforms, I think it's an amazing learning experience, and you learn how to tell the story better, what metrics really work, and what people are looking for.
Okay. Is programmatic buying up funnel or down funnel marketing?
Well, it depends. It goes back to how you use the data, to push everything, upper funnel. And, just to be, smarter about your messaging. It's like, again, I never said this, but I've heard a lot of people say it, as you pointed out, Michael, advertising is now content and data is now the new creative. It's really just about using the data to just be more informed in your messaging. And so I think it's going to do nothing else but help us drive our efficiency. And by that, Robin, I don't mean rate efficiency, but efficiency in the terms of effective messaging and hopefully driving, the results. So we are focused on driving everything, up that funnel.
Because I don't think data is necessarily art. I think it's insights. And
Absolutely.
I think art is more creative. And how do we balance both?
Yeah. But you have to turn those insights into actions. Insights need to convert to actions.
Yes.
And we're all sitting on a lot of insights right now. So how do we then convert those into actionable results? But you're right, it's first and foremost insights.
So then with all this programmatic buying, what do we do with all the great creative ideas?
I think it's going to take a while for this all to develop. I think the big idea that's never been done before is never going to stop coming out of your mouth. That's unique to you. I mean, you're not going to stop asking for that, are you? Your clients. So it's going to require.
I'm a big idea machine.
I know. So and I like your audience. I want to reach your audience. Tell me how to do that, and so it'll go across multiple platforms in order to do it. And RTV will be a portion of that, perhaps.
Yeah, and that's the point. I mean, these, as Mike said, these great ideas should be multi-platform wherever that consumer happens to be consuming that media, and. I just believe that good ideas should rule the day, and because it should create some engagement, and it's all back to the results again.
And you worked on the Powerade program with us and the mini documentary series that is really impactful content. When you go to our website, there's 10 episodes, and it's really good stuff, and that's. When you combine, the goals of Powerade and what you were trying to do there with our audience, and you deliver killer content, you can make it all kind of work together for the audience and for the advertiser. And we're going to keep doing a lot of that.
Do we have a business model for that, cross-platform? How's all that working?
How is it working?
Is it working?
I mean, listen, the research
model.
overall, I mean, if you just take a look at the marketplace in general, cross-platform is still a relatively small part of what clients say that they want.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, our company does a reasonable amount of cross-platform, but I don't think cross-platform in and of itself is a goal. I mean, typically, right? It has to be about impact, right? It has to be about connecting with the consumer, and if you need cross-platform to do that, then I think that's effective. But cross-platform. I mean, again, just looking here, everybody here kind of does cross-platform now, right? I mean, so.
And I think the business model lags the consumer behavior. So I think the consumers, for a long period of time and continues to accelerate, are consuming any of the experiences or any of the brands on this stage across a variety of platforms, whether it's in video, whether it's over the top, whether it's on mobile devices, whether it's in analog forms. I mean, that is their natural inclination. I think until the moment where our platforms look seamlessly and from a measurement standpoint can really look at that, and where we can really report on the unique audience and have the insights and understand the actions that we can generate across those platforms. I think we're still at such a nascent moment in the development of that cross-platform understanding. Even if we can take the ideas to those platforms, we can't really understand which parts of that of the mechanics are really driving the results. I think because by definition the measurement
shouldn't, right?
is siloed.
They should all assist each other.
Absolutely.
Well, now there's attribution studies or modeling that will help, marketers understand what pieces of that platform are really driving the results. And, at Sports Illustrated, I mean, we've built a successful experiential marketing business. It's, very important as a sports marketer to be able to engage consumers when they're watching, where they're at, when they're at stadiums. That's worked well for us. We have a TV partnership with NBC that's been very successful that we're going to roll out further. But each of those pieces do have to stay true to the brand, and you have to activate all of those pieces for marketers in a way that makes it all work. And on the agency side, it's really complex because you got social agencies, you've got video agencies, you got a lot. On the client side, it's a little easier, and we try to spend a lot of time with CMOs understanding what they're trying to accomplish and driving what they're interested in, if it's college football, if it's NCAA basketball, around content, and then through these platforms.
See, we found that saying and trying to force it doesn't work, right? It has to work with whatever the idea that you're thinking through. A lot of the agencies, frankly, are not set up to execute these ideas seamlessly. Some are, but many are not. And
Well, that may be our job.
What is that?
To do the execution.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not just talking executing. I'm talking just getting the
Organized.
the multi-platform disciplines together and have everybody agree on an idea, right? I mean that's the hard part, right? But if you start with a client who has a vision of what they want to have happen, then it happens easier.
Although I would say that I think agencies are getting better every single day in adapting to this new world in terms of breaking down silos and thinking about budgets more holistically versus separately and individually. So I think that the idea to think cross-platform or have this great big idea activated is being executed better today.
Yeah, it's more than just the platform. We're in so many different businesses now. Events is a big part of that. But I was sitting down with Irwin Gottlieb, who said when he started in the business, and I'm going to assume that was the late 70s, maybe it was before that.
You should do a show of hands and see if anybody even recognizes in this room that name.
At Group M. He's a very smart man. He said when he started in the business, the allocation of marketing dollars from his clients that went to buying media, static ads in newspapers as an example, was 65% of that spending went toward buying media. Today it's 15%. 15% of the budget of his big clients is going into buying ads, and the rest of it is all the other things we're being asked to do.
Yeah.
It's a phenomenal shift in how we operate day to day.
Yeah.
I think it's what you said earlier too, Michael. I mean, it's about following the consumer behavior. I think it's interesting. We talk so much in our day-to-day about platform. The consumers don't talk about platform. They're completely platform agnostic. They just want to make sure that wherever they decide to pick up our brands or our content, wherever they are on that consumer journey or content journey, they expect it to work. They want to have what we call no dead-end experiences. And so whether it's desktop or mobile or tablet or whatever it is, it really is following a consumer journey and making sure that everything works. And mobile again is an area that we really all should just jump on, because we can tell you, and I'm sure all of our brands are saying the same thing, you are not getting an optimized experience by not really jumping onto creating mobile optimized sites or mobile services. You're really missing out on a very important part of the consumer journey.
I mean, you see companies like Ford, and when they're launching new products, I mean, they used to use traditional media. Now they're using social media to pre-sell in a launch of a new car. And then once it's launched, they'll use traditional media. And back to Michael's point, those traditional media dollars are much smaller, and we better find a way to access those other channels, or we will die.
And I think one of the gaps is,
Well,
yes.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
That's what I believe.
I think that there's also an issue with the creative side of it as well, which is that as you start to move across these platforms, it's not simply about how do we take the 30-second spot and what does it look like as a static page in a magazine and what does it look like as a banner ad, and let's translate that to a 30-second pre-roll. I think that was, I think the primitive place where we all started, and I think it was a natural place to explore. I think that I think it's really important that we evaluate these form factors because the consumer experience is so different on each of these platforms. Someone consuming an iPad version of a magazine is incredibly immersed in that, and they're not multitasking, generally speaking. Whereas a desktop experience on the Huffington Post is incredibly frenetic, where they're seeing tons of different things thrown at them. So the other piece of this is not just building the plan and that holistic experience to tell the story, but to actually tell the story from a creative standpoint. I'm not so sure that we're completely in sync between the sophistication of where the buying strategies and the media can be and the creativity and how you sync those up.
You know, Robbie,
Our demands is basically it, yes.
You talked about insights before, you know, again, back to all recipes, something we're learning is that, you know, here it is, you know, we get back to mobile, you know, 4 o'clock, Mom wants inside, or what's for dinner, and she, you know, all recipes has become almost a mobile business, and she's using that down the aisle. So how do you take that insight of, you know, more and more recipes coming online, taking it down the aisle, and how can I, you know, whether there's a recipe or an ingredient, and then we have a shopping list, and very often those products that get onto the shopping list get bought, and you can also put out coupons. So we're learning this just because of that insight of the usage up and down those aisles when it's time to shop for free.
Great. Well, I think we've got 5 minutes left. Oh, it's 4:10 now? Okay, so I don't know, we have 5-10 minutes left. 5 minutes for questions, but I just want to say, you know, from my perspective, a year ago, we probably would not be having this conversation in the traditional publisher space. And so I find it so interesting how you transformed your businesses, reimagined your businesses, and adapted to the new digital world, whether it's programmatic or we're still thinking about ideas. And it's very interesting and exciting for not only myself, my team, our agency, and our clients, but the work that we are creating with you guys today is far superior than ever, because at the end of the day, to your point, Kristine, it is about results, and we're able to measure it in very different ways. And we're able to bring our ideas to life in very different ways besides the traditional in-book element. So this digital landscape is just fascinating, and it's going to keep changing and getting better and better and more interesting.
I feel like we work side by side as opposed to across the table much more.
It's less transactional and it's more idea generation.
Yeah. I think, you know, you brainstorm together. I think it's everybody's got a piece of this.
So I just want to say thank you to everybody here for helping make that change. And with that, now we have 4 minutes worth of questions.
Microphone.
I'm wondering what volume of your sales involve first-party data? Is it behavioral, demographic, everything? Do you have a DMP? Do you have 8 data scientists on staff? Trying to get a sense of where the market is.
So we acquired, Kristine from Hearst, we acquired a company called Core Audience, and they are our DMP. We're housing all of our data. We're in the process of organizing all of our data in one centralized location. Your question was specific to, are we selling data? If that was the question, we are not in the business of selling data. Who knows, you know, in 5 years, or like Joe said, our business is changing so quickly. But
are they buying audience in addition to?
Oh, yes. So we are absolutely in the process of training our direct team to understand how to pull data into the selling process and understand the value between and the difference between first-party data and third-party data, and really trying to make sure that we have distinctions. So we lean on our partners at Core Audience to help us, make sure that the sales teams are experts in that space. And it is another layer of selling, like we said, on top of everything else. It really does require a different skill set. At the moment, we're educating the team as opposed to building out different teams, but it's an area we're very focused on.
We are selling data. We have a very sophisticated deal team, and we do it every day.
We are not a huge organization. I think we're probably the smallest organization on this panel. that is not a big part of our go-to-market right now.
Yeah, Time Inc. is a big part of what we do. We've got a big database group. We're getting better. We're hiring more people in that area. We've always delivered through the old selective binding when it was print only, but we're using that database in a much more sophisticated way than we ever have, and we'll continue to do that.
It's very behavioral.
And pulling offline and online data, I don't know, that's probably what we're all still wrestling, at scale. I mean, it's just still crazy to me that we're still trying to figure that out. So yeah, if you said, what's the biggest area of our company where we are investing behind, one of the biggest areas is data and analytics and making sure that we can, because at the end of the day, we sell advertising, but that's been a mistake in some part. Our core currencies are content and audience. Audience defined as inventory and data. So yeah, that is, online and offline, just to be clear, trying to pull both sets of data into the DMP.
Any other questions?
Hi.
Sorry.
Well, so I'm Joanna. I'm from Forrester Research. I'm an analyst at Forrester. I'm really bullish on programmatic as a former buyer myself inside an agency, but I'm a little worried. I mean, how much are you still just getting hammered on CPMs by 23-year-old media buyers?
Really getting hammered.
Why? Thank you. I'm so young today.
Well, we like that.
I'll hammer away.
It's a fight. It's fun.
I think that question's for Robin.
Do you want to answer that?
No one wants to touch it. It's fine.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
Look, I think there's pressure on price. I think there's always been pressure on price, and I think as there's been more transparency and things, that obviously makes the marketplace much more rational and data-driven and from a pricing standpoint. But I have to say, some of the things that we're working on right now, when you have an incredible idea that people are really excited to be a part of, you can still command really significant premiums, and you can still have, a supply and demand curve that allows people to compete for an idea that they really want to be a part of because it's so differentiated. And that's not every day, and that's not everything we sell. But I feel very fortunate that in the mix of things that we take to the market, we have something coming up that we just built a partnership for, and I have to say I've never seen CPMs like what we're looking at. And I think that's because the idea itself is so incredibly strong, and they're really excited to be a part of it. And with 5 other people right behind them, that's not every day. That's not the full marketplace.
High
It still
CPMs
happens.
you're talking?
High.
Okay,
Very
let's
high.
chat after this.
And I also think ad units matter, and so I think that Huffington Post being a part of AOL, where we really took a thought leadership role around Pictella and premium formats, also is a part of the equation. Being able to tell a story through editorially driven ad units that really allow you to bring so much more dimension to traditional display drives dramatically different engagement, and the pricing moves along with that. And so I think where you have a premium experience, you can command premium pricing. Again, that's not the full mix, and you have to build the business for all the layers of what you're delivering. But it's
Probably in any
there.
product, you have a good idea, there's a demand out there. And
No,
you
but
pick
I
one
would
first.
agree with that in terms of, I think there's a reason why we want mass audiences at a efficient price, and then there are times where we want relevancy, contextual relevancy, environment, specific ad units, and there's an activation process that happens that changes that value to more of a premium value, and it becomes a mix or a balance. But I think the pendulum that swung one way is swinging back. Where I think, I'm not saying it's swinging all the way back, but I think there are times where we are going to pay a premium for specific, objectives or strategies or other.
You need to play to both sides. I mean, I believe, and it might be unique to Hearst and my point of view, but we've got to be able to play to both ends of the spectrum. Our clients on within their same portfolio, they may have a brand that has 2 different brand strategies and campaign objectives. It may be performance driven, and that's what that strategy and budget is set up to do. Or it could be idea driven, high touch driven, and I believe that we as publishers are equipped to be able to play both ends of the spectrum, because we have really, I don't want to say abandoned, but we didn't really look at the other side of the equation. We were afraid to get into that. But, our clients do. I'm seeing that in our 4th quarter efforts. The same clients are just buying us 2 different ways. because the campaign and brand objectives are different.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good thing for us,
Yeah.
meaning for all of us, the collective us.
But the deals are different.
The deals are different, the strategies
deals
are different, the
value
measures
is
are
expressed
different.
in different ways, and it's not so linear anymore, meaning we have to think about the overall negotiation and what we're delivering in terms of value to the client, and that's just one part of it. So you can't really look at it in a silo or a vacuum. Chip?
Yeah, sorry.
Chip, is he allowed to ask questions?
Yeah, am I allowed to ask a question? Chip Skank from Programmatic. So you, Robin, you and Kristine just hit on something back and forth about different campaigns need different measurements or there are different metrics of success. Do you guys, across the panel, is there any particular metric or measurement that you guys find is going to be particularly useful for measuring success within the programmatic space? Is there any kind of one or two measurements that you think are going to be the something new that's going to be developed?
Look,
All about revenue. I mean, I'll give you an example. We have a big credit card company that goes after small business and it goes after acquisitions at the lower end. So we do exactly what Kristine was saying and talk to the two of them, and those two different objectives, and never let them blend. Never let anybody say that we're going to blend those into one rate and we get the efficiency. No, we're not going to do that. We have control of the pricing. So the measurement of success is, do they spend more the next year? Right? That's the. Am I getting incremental? Is this working for you? Is it working for me? Is the best measurement for us.
Yeah, and if it's not working for the client, then they're not going to do it again. So they've got to drive sales, and they know exactly what drives sales now. There's more data than ever. So that's really the test. Is it working? Do they want to keep doing it? Do they want to make it bigger?
But I don't know if there's going to be standards the way we used to have these best practices, because every client, whether it's upper funnel, lower funnel, so it's brand awareness or it's transactional or acquisition, they're going to have different KPIs and they're going to want different action taken based on a very customized deal. And so I don't know if we should have those one or two versus what's the best solution based on the business challenge, and did we deliver that?
Measurement. So you asked on a programmatic level, putting programmatic aside, measurement will be our biggest challenge as an industry. And I know earlier today, for those of you who are here, talked about viewable impressions, right? Viewable impressions brings in a whole other, form of measurement if an ad is in view. So, measurement overall is going to be a big challenge. Probably more so from an agency standpoint, because how do you have so many disparate partners and really look for ways to measure success? So I would say measurement holistically is going to be a real challenge.
And I think the metrics will diversify, because whether it's impressions or you might look at social actions in the content, did they get enough earned media, and what's the value of a share, and did that translate to commercial value for that customer? I think as you build around these very diverse set of objectives, the dynamics of the program are going to be fundamentally different, and the KPIs have to be different. Is it brand perception or is it literally commerce? And I think that it's, if anything, the metrics are going to multiply.
But one thing that won't change is sales.
That's right.
But with that, I want to thank everybody here, and thank you.
Special thanks to this panel. Robin, if this is your first time moderating a panel, I suspect you're going to be invited to do many more. This is an amazing panel group that came together. I want to especially thank you guys for your openness, because as competitors, sometimes this is the hardest forum to actually give away the secret sauces of your business, especially going into Q4. Thanks to each and every one of you guys. Really appreciate you being here. Thank you.